On the morning of November 21st, 2025, SpaceX lost its most important rocket. 12 hours earlier, Jeff Bezos announced the largest rocket Blue Origin has ever designed. One company stumbles, the other leaps forward, on the same day. You might call it coincidence. I call it a turning point. Because what happened at 4 a.m. in Boca Chica wasn't just an explosion, it was the sound of a timeline shattering, a timeline that leads to the moon, and eventually to Mars. But here's what most reports aren't telling you. This wasn't a random failure. SpaceX has seen this exact problem before, 5 months ago. Same type of component, same catastrophic result. And they still don't fully understand why. SpaceX built its empire on a simple philosophy: fail fast, learn faster. But when the same failure happens twice, is that still learning, or is it something else? I want to hear your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between bold engineering and reckless ambition? Leave your answer below. Let me take you back to that night. Booster 18 had rolled out to the Massey test stand just 24 hours earlier. It was the first piece of Starship version 3 hardware ever built, taller than its predecessors, structurally reinforced, designed for something no rocket has ever done, docking with another Starship in orbit and transferring fuel. That capability is the entire foundation of NASA's lunar landing plan. Without orbital refueling, Starship cannot reach the moon with enough propellant to land and return. It's that simple. So Booster 18 wasn't just a test article, it was the prototype for everything that comes next. The test itself was routine. Gas system pressurization, no engines installed, no propellant loaded, just nitrogen and oxygen slowly building pressure inside the liquid oxygen tank. And then at 4:04 a.m., the tank wall failed. Live stream cameras captured the moment, a sudden release of gas, the lower section of the booster buckling inward, steel panels ripping open like paper. When the sun rose over Starbase, the damage was clear. The entire lower Lux tank section destroyed. Booster 18 will never fly. Now here's where it gets interesting. 5 months ago, in June 2025, SpaceX lost Ship 36. It was preparing for a 6-engine static fire test when something inside the aft section exploded. The cause? A SOPV failure. Composite overwrapped pressure vessel. COPVs are high-pressure containers used throughout Starship. They hold the gases that pressurize fuel tanks, operate valves, and control thrust. They're under immense stress, and when they fail violently. SpaceX never publicly confirmed the root cause of the Ship 36 explosion, but insiders pointed to the COPVs. Now, with Booster 18, we're seeing the same pattern: a pressure test, a sudden rupture, no propellant involved. Is it another COPVV? A weld failure in the tank wall? SpaceX says they need time to investigate, but the similarity is striking. And here's the uncomfortable truth: SpaceX doesn't have a backup. Booster 19 hasn't even started stacking. Ship 39, the intended partner for Booster 18, is sitting in the Star Factory, waiting for a dance partner that will never arrive. The entire Block 3 program just lost its first act. Meanwhile, at Cape Canaveral, Blue Origin announced New Glenn 9x4, 9 engines on the first stage, 4 on the second, over 70 metric tons to low Earth orbit, a rocket taller than the Saturn V. The timing is almost poetic. One giant falls, another rises. Let's talk about what's really at stake. NASA's Artemis 3 mission was supposed to land astronauts on the moon in 2027. That date slipped to 2028 months ago. Now even that timeline looks optimistic. The reason? SpaceX. NASA chose Starship as its human landing system. A bold decision. Starship promised unprecedented payload capacity at a fraction of the cost of traditional landers. But that promise came with conditions. SpaceX must demonstrate orbital refueling before any crewed lunar mission can proceed. Multiple Starship tankers must launch, dock, and transfer cryogenic propellant in space, a feat never accomplished by any rocket from any nation in the history of spaceflight. And the vehicle that was supposed to validate the structural changes needed for that capability just crumpled under pressure on a test stand in Texas. Earlier this week, acting NASA Administrator Sean Duffy acknowledged what many suspected: SpaceX is behind schedule. The lunar landing won't happen before 2028, and even that depends on rapid progress. Here's the question no one at NASA wants to answer publicly. What if SpaceX can't solve this? There is no backup lander. Blue Origin's competing proposal was rejected. If Starship fails, Artemis fails with it. 50 years after Apollo 17, humanity's return to the moon rests on the shoulders of a rocket that just failed its first major test. I want to leave you with an image. When the sun rose over Starbase on November 21st, Booster 18 was still standing, damaged beyond repair, a gaping wound in its side, but upright. There's something almost defiant about that. SpaceX has been here before. Falcon 1 failed 3 times before it reached orbit. Early Falcon 9 landings ended in fireballs. Starship prototypes exploded so often that journalists stopped counting. And yet, here we are. Falcon 9 is the most reliable rocket in the world. Starship has completed 11 test flights. The technology works. But version 3 is different. It's not just bigger, it's more complex. The margins are tighter, the stakes are higher. This explosion isn't the end of the Mars dream, but it's a reminder. A reminder that the universe doesn't care about timelines, that steel can fail, that pressure vessels can rupture, that even the best engineers in the world sometimes face problems they don't yet understand. Booster 18 broke, but it's still standing. Maybe that's the most honest thing SpaceX has ever built.